on again with MagnaBeat. Good to see. I'm glad that you joined in. This is another add-on that we have called the 5 Steps add-on. First thing that I want to show you with the 5 Steps add-on is that this is the only piece that really actually works on the basic kit. We talked about the very first video we did about the basic kit. This is everything that you get along with basic mat. Then the add-on extension where you extend from 8 beats out to 16 beats. The intermediate add-on is more challenging rhythms for your upper grade kids. The dynamics add-on gives you dynamics from pianissimo through and including fortissimo, plus the icons for crescendo, decrescendo, and the words that go along with that. So now we're into the 5 steps. With the 5 steps, you get to repeat one measure, and you can also use with that to lessen the confusion for your kids from your basic kit. You can use your blank 1 beats, 1 on each side, so that they know that this means repeat one measure ahead of time, 1 measure prior to. Then you can always put a 2 or a 3 above here on the board. You can put a 2 or a 3 up here so they know that's the previous 2 or 3 measures. With this system, with the extension, I would suggest using a 2/4 time signature, because that way it gives you more measures with which to work. So that comes along with, I'm going to stick that over in the parking lot over here for right now. Beyond that, with the 5 steps process, you really don't even, at this point, need the basic kit to do this. This is a process. I'm going to take this right down and stick it over here on the parking lot for right now. This is a process that came through when I had 4th graders that were starting recorder. We had gone in 3rd grade, learned the names of the lines and the spaces, all the way kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade. They had learned rhythms, they had learned pitches, they had learned all the different orphan ensemble pieces that we did, hand instruments, put ensembles together, but now we were at recorder, and it came time to take all those pieces that they learned. I kind of liken it with my students as a box with a puzzle in it, and you have all these pieces. You've learned about pitch, you've learned about dynamics, you've learned about time signature, you've learned of bar lines and double bar lines and all of that stuff that you've learned, and they're like pieces in a puzzle. Now you have a recorder, and it's time to put all of that stuff together. So, oh my gosh, how do I do that? And I found my kids were really stressed out about it. So I tried to break it down into a process which we called, what do I do when I get a new piece of music? And there's 5 steps. So that's what the 5 steps add-on teaches them. There are 5 steps. So the first step is to name the notes. Naming the notes, I go through and just name the notes all the way through. We do that as a class. This is also a process that the kids can do on their own. Once they learn the process, whether they're in 4th grade or they're in 11th grade, they can go through and use this process when they get a new piece of music. Okay, the second step is to play the notes. Just go through and play all the notes. Think of yourself as a 3rd or a 4th grade recorder player, and you're going through and you're playing all the notes, just one note at a time. And you come across a note that you don't know, then you can go to the fingering chart. You can ask a friend. This is a way for kids to be able to go to a brand new piece of music on their own without the teacher's help. It's a basket of tools that they can use. So go and play the notes. If you don't play the notes, if you don't know the fingering of a note, if you don't know how to finger it, go to the fingering chart. And that's a golden opportunity to teach the kids in your class how to use a fingering chart. Step number 3 is to speak the rhythms. So we've isolated the notes, we've isolated the fingerings, and we've isolated the rhythms. Those are the 3 pieces in the box, if you will, 3 pieces of the puzzle. And they speak the rhythms, whether you choose to use ta-ti-ti, whether you choose to do do-do-day, whatever, or numbers. My students, by the time they're in 4th grade, we work on getting them to speak with the numbers. So now they've named the notes, A, B, G, A, B, B, A, E, whatever. Play the notes, finger the notes painstakingly if they need to, one note at a time, regardless of what the rhythm is. Just get those fingerings underneath their fingers, and then speak the rhythms. Step 4, this is where I usually put a break in here, because this is where your brain has to work both sides against each other. Singering. Singering is what I call you sing it and you finger it at the same time. So if you're singering, you're going through with the rhythms, with the correct rhythms. G, A, B, 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 A, G, rest. It's very difficult because now what they're doing is they're making both sides of their brains work together. And I always tell them, it's going to feel weird at the first time and your brain might ache. It might take you, it's going to take us 3 or 4 times before you really understand it. If you give them that opportunity to say, okay, if I don't get it the first time, I'm still cool, then they kind of relax with it. You'll get more the second time, you'll get more the third time. But this is where practice, this is what practice does. Practice makes it easier every time. And then after they've done all of these 4 steps, then their favorite part is to number 5, you play the whole song. That's their favorite part. Once they've broken down everything into these 5 steps, then these first 4 steps, the 5th step is so much easier for them because they've analyzed. What you're causing them to do is to analyze everything before they get into it. Then, as they get more and more pronounced on what they're doing, they can go through and combine some of these steps. Now, in the very, very beginning, I tell the kids, it doesn't matter on your own if you want to do 1, 2, or 3 first. If you're more comfortable with speaking the rhythms first, do that. If you're more comfortable with naming the notes and then playing the notes, that's fine, because everybody learns differently. Everybody functions differently. But for class, we're going to do these steps just because we're going to have some fun with it. We're going to name the notes, we're going to play the notes, we're going to speak the rhythms from beginning to end, so that they know those are the 3 steps. But on your own, you can mix these up, it's absolutely fine. But singing and then playing the whole song, do those in step 4 and step 5. So then I always put some kind of motion to it. We name the notes. I point to myself, my name is, name the notes, then you play the notes. Then you speak the rhythms from beginning to end. And then we sing the whole song, because if you get the pitch in there, then they're singing, and then play the whole song. And we work on that pattern, and we get our voices working, we get our bodies working, and they remember it. Name the notes, play the notes, speak the rhythms from beginning to end. Sing the whole song, play the whole song. And we do it almost as a cheer, so that that's ingrained in their head when they go home. This is also in their recorder books or in their ORF books or whatever they're performing, or their guitar books or whatever. But it's really important that they know that they can move these back and forth, and that they know that everybody learns at a different rate. Everybody learns a different way, and it's okay to move these around. This gives them a way to get a piece of music and to teach themselves. My job as a teacher is to get my students to the point where they don't need me anymore. And this process gets them to the point musically where they don't need me anymore. And they can also work together as a friend. We have practice time in the classroom where they can work with a friend as long as they're working together. And they choose which order to do number 1, 2, and 3. But as a class, because we cheer it and we say it together as an ensemble, we do name the notes, play the notes, speak the rhythm. We do it in that order. So that's add-on number 5. Again, MagnaBeat.biz is the go-to if you're interested in. There's photographs there, there's some videos there, there's some background information on how MagnaBeat came to be. There's a little information about me, but and then Hill Music is the go-to. There's a drop-down to contact Hill Music if you need more information. My cell phone number is there. Give me a call, give me a text, give me an email, and I'd be glad to help talk with you at any time when we can get together. So thank you for listening. I'm glad you were here, and have a great week. See you later.